dogs in tow. Through Alberta's fields where the wild winds blow. Connie threads tales with Helen spin. Kim's got the tea, let the chatter begin. The Yabbiaks, they weave the sound of yarn and fiber all around. Knit one purl, one story's flow. Tales of stitches everywhere we go.
Pattern on this pattern for me was too square. I have weird feet. I like rounded toes.
I like rounded toes too. Who wants square toes? My toes aren't square. How many stitches are you at?
I'm at 16 on each needle.
That seems like a few too many to me.
Okay, take it down a couple more. Okay.
I take it down to like 8 on each needle.
That's what I was thinking. I think the toe I just did, that's what it was.
All right. Well, thank you very much. And by the way, welcome to Yabbiaks. Sorry. In the middle of projects here. So obviously, I'm working on a sock. Yes, I dared doing one at a time because I wanted to check out the pattern to make sure I liked it. So I've held it. Miss Connie.
Hi, Connie. I am still working on my baby sweater. I pulled up the pattern so I could tell you a little bit more about it this time. It's the Pippi Baby Jacket, which is a free Ravelry pattern. But what inspired me to check it out was the fact that you constructed it in 5 separate pieces and then knitted it together from the armholes up. According to the pattern designer, it's inspired by an Elizabeth Zimmerman design. And it was just kind of an interesting construction. And frankly, the picture in the pattern, which I'll show you, was just too darn cute.
Cute will work every time.
Exactly. It just uses two different yarns. A lot of people are doing a variegated or striping yarn and a solid. I've chosen just to use 2 solids, and I'm just knitting from my stash. I think the one yarn is King Cole Baby, and I'm honestly couldn't tell you what the other one is right now. So I'm just trying to corral some of the ends because knitting it in 5 pieces, I have ends everywhere right now.
Those dreaded ends. I hate ends.
No doubt. And when you're knitting with 2 colors, the extra ends and everything, I'm finding things are getting a little tangled, so I'm trying to get them out of the way a little bit at the moment. What are you ladies working on? Ellen's working on her sock.
Yes.
What pattern is it?
I believe it's called Lemonade.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's the little shorty sock, isn't it? Yes, they are called Lemonade socks. Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, that's a free Ravelry pattern as well, isn't it?
Yes. I have a pair in progress somewhere myself. Surprise! A project in progress.
Well, I think we all made the commitment this year, right? That we are going to finish our works in progress. So that's our goal. We'll keep you appraised on how we're doing.
Actually, I've been fairly successful at that so far this year. I have completed my flax sweater, my Alaska hat, and started and finished an entire pair of socks. And we're only in March, so that's like mega completion for me. What are you working on, Kim?
I'm working on just a linked double crochet blanket using 3 strands of Bernat Premium acrylic and worsted and an 11.5 millimeter hook, which is a pea-size hook.
Oh, wow.
What size
hook? P. 11.5 millimeters.
A letter P. I'm going P?
Yes, letter P.
I'm thinking a little P.
I like the linked double crochet because it goes faster than single crochet, but you don't have the great big holes
Right.
because you're linking your stitches together every time.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
So rather than doing your typical yarn over that you would do, you're going in to the link from the previous stitch and then pulling up your yarn as usual and then pulling it through that linked stitch
Oh, cool.
so that it keeps the stitches locked together.
Probably a little less stretchy for the weight of something like that, too.
It's a little less stretchy. I also like this stitch if I'm doing a baby blanket because I don't like to have big holes if I'm doing something where little fingers or toes can go through them.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes.
Well, I know last time we talked a bit about knit alongs and sock madness, but I know there are also crochet alongs. So I know Barocco, the yarn producers, just finished doing one where every week for
Oh.
7 weeks they, and it was a very pretty Afghan they worked on. There were some floral tiles, some granny sort of style. It was a very pretty pattern. So that was from their newsletter. So that was fun to watch, and I was able to download the knit along instructions. So when I finish my works and my whips, I will be able to start a new one.
Even if I don't get all my whips done, I'm trying to knit primarily for my stash right now. I have bought the occasional yarns, either for a specific project or if I was out with someone and just saw something and it just screamed to me that it had to go home because it was pretty.
The occasional skeiny yarn will still make it in, even when you're trying to knit from your stash. I know I'm trying to do some of that this year too, because when I first got back into knitting and started knitting with the beautiful yarns that are available these days, I bought a skein here, I bought a skein there. So
Mm-hmm.
I am now trying to make sure that I use those. I'm pretty confident I have enough sock yarn to last for a while. But 2025 is very much about trying to get organized and being a little more mindful in my knitting, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Using what I have so that it's not just sitting there, too. If it's pretty, it deserves to be seen, not in my cabinet. And I'm trying to finish my works in progress, and I've already picked a couple off of that list already. And I'm trying to get more organized so that I can find things when I want them, like my notions bag.
Oh, well, I was going to say this probably is not a good time to remind you then that we do have the new Prairie Fiber Festival at Olds coming up in June. So not only will there be beautiful yarns and squishies to go look at, but yes, some gorgeous project bags.
You're
Yes, I.
kidding, that's the weekend of my birthday.
Oh,
There's no limits there.
darn!
Oh,
No conflict on that one. I can see. Okay.
That's right. I'll just come with a budget for my birthday. Not a problem. Besides, between now and then, I should have gotten a bunch of things out of my stash.
yes.
That will be your story, and you're going to stick with it. Are you?
Absolutely, absolutely. But I did find my notions bag.
Oh, good. So I was going to
Uh,
say, what do you like in a notions bag?
well, as we discussed last week, I like a zipper because there would be notions from one end to my house to the other. So I've got my zippered pouch. I've had this one for a few years now. It's just a Michael's clearance find. Just says my stuff in fancy script. It's technically meant to be a pencil case, but I like it for notions. Let's have a good time and let's see what's really in the notions
Oh,
bag.
ooh, this is like the shower party game. What's in my purse? Yes.
Kind of. Well,
Do
no
we get to
surprise.
award points?
No surprise, a hair tie and a lip balm. Because those are in everything I own. Let's see what else we've got and how many repeats of things we can find in here too.
Does that mean you
So
lose points if there's repeats?
I don't know. We'll have to come up with some rules for the notion bag game. Couple sets of DPNs and their little sewn DPN holders. So there we go. But I think those are two different sizes, so I don't know that those count as repeats. A card that used to have stitch markers on it. Surprise! The stitch markers are probably in here too. Ooh, now let's do scissors. There's one pair.
Sure, they're not too big.
Well, they're pretty pointy, so I'm looking for plain scissors too. This pair is my favorite pair, but they will not be joining me on the plane. They are teeny tiny Singer scissors, and they were my grandmother's, so they definitely will not be subjected to any kind of a airline trip. They will be staying home where they should be. Let's see if I can find more scissors in here. Oh, there's my little teeny tiny kitty cat snips. So that would be possibly a good one. They're very dull ended. So we're up to 3 pairs of scissors in here. Do we see any more? Oh, yes. One more pair. But again,
wait,
pretty
there's
pointy.
more.
Yeah, but wait, there's more. Pretty pointy, pretty sharp. So the little blue ones will probably be the one I would take. Let's see what else we've got in here. Well, that's a little bit of a concern. One sleeve holder. I got to find where the other one is. It's probably somewhere where I finished my sweater.
A sleeve holder?
Yes, for when you separate out your sleeves, and we put it on this rubbery cord.
Oh,
And I only see one in my bag, and there's supposed to be 2. And a needle gauge. And a yarn gauge. And a collection of ball bands from various projects. Yep. Got a few of those. Hey, this is a good time to clean my notions bag out. What am I saying here?
beginning to feel like it's a Mary Poppins bag. I'm curious what she's going to bring out next.
You kidding? I'm not done. A little kitty cat shaped cable stitch holder. It's like the never ending bag, I tell you. Oh boy, what a collection we have here. Wait till you see this little collection. Various cable needles, a crochet hook, and more stitch holders. Lots of those, few different sizes. What else is in here? Apparently there's a lot of stuff in here. Another crochet hook, a giant M-sized one. Why that's not with the rest of my crochet hooks, I have no idea. Oh look, more crochet hooks. Surprise! And another wooden needle that I use for cables. And a teeny tiny crochet hook. Another very tiny crochet hook. It is a 0.6 millimeter.
I wonder if you were using that one for beading.
Well, hoping to, probably. Oh, I found one of my needles for weaving in ends. I've been looking for those. And a few stitch markers. Yep. Few stitch markers in a container. There's still more. Let's see. A pair of point protectors in kitty cat paws. And the container that needle should be in for weaving in ends.
Well, at least you've got the container. Phew, was worried there for a moment.
Yeah, and apparently this is the bag of odd items because I know why there's one single point protector in here. It's supposed to be on those scissors. Must have fallen off. And then a peacock yarn guide ring. And the Star Wars theme somewhere?
Sorry. My phone, I apologize. I thought it was off. It's normally off, so
That's okay. I have a couple more stitch markers.
most people
More
complain.
more stitch markers. Oh, goodness, I'm going to have to get those back in the container they belong in. And a mechanical pencil. That's what's in this bag.
Okay. Okay, well, since we're talking about notions bags, I am guilty of having multiples. Currently, in front of me, I have two. So I'll start with the bag in my right hand. I have my little Timu tuna can that I received in a swap package at one of our previous retreats. And in this package, I have some lovely little faux suede labels for going on knit projects that just say handmade and have little balls of yarn.
Nice.
I have a little pair of the swan style or crane style embroidery scissors. I have another pair of tiny scissors. I'm noticing a theme with our packages.
I was just going to say, I'm noticing that I'm not the only one with multiple pairs of scissors.
And by the
I
way, they're
have
not
a
cranes, they're storks.
yes. I have a purse hanger that I haven't taken out of the package yet, and I probably should.
Hold on, hold on. I have one of those in mind too.
I have a scrap of yarn that I'm not sure what it's from or even what kind of yarn it is.
That sounds perfect.
I have a needle for weaving in ends that's very long, but it's got a almost fishing line style top. I have another needle that's metal that's actually stuck through the inside top of my project bag so that I always know where it is and don't stab myself. Because as you'll learn, I'm a little bit of a klutz. I have not one, but two things of highlighter tape.
Okay, explain
That makes me
highlighter
wonder
tape.
where and that makes me
Highlighter tape
wonder
is
where mine is.
useful when you're working on a chart because you can pull a piece off and it works like a highlighter. You can see through it, but you can pull it off and move it around. So if you're working on a chart, you can highlight the row you're on, and usually you can go through a few repeats before you have to replace the highlighter tape, unless they happen to end up full of cat hair, and then they don't really re-stick that well.
That just makes me wonder where my highlighter tape went.
I have some little loops that go on the ends of your knitting needles for stitch minders. I have two little silicone balls for needle ends. I have one silicone ball trying to run away. One cat paw stitch or needle minder, needle holder, but I'm not sure where the other one is.
Glad to see it's not just my notions bag.
I have another darning needle. This one's plastic, so I seem to have all the bases covered for materials. I have a set of the little rescue crochet hooks that I picked up at Statement Junkie, which are really nice if you happen to drop a stitch because you have 3 different sizes that can fit through most projects. I have some random stitch markers, but they're thankfully all linked together. And I have 2 tape measures.
Not one, but two.
Not one, but 2 in this bag. Now, once I put everything back in this bag, I'll see what I actually have living in the other bag. That one's bigger. It could be a little bit more of an adventure.
Just like the old game show, Let's Make a Deal, where you gotta find the stuff in your purse.
So this project bag is one that I actually sewed myself. On the outside, it has a thread cutter.
Nice.
In the front pocket, I have random knitting stickers and a scrap of yellow acrylic yarn, a pair of scissors.
Surprise.
A little peacock yarn ring, a little paw print stitch marker, a needle gauge, and a yarn gauge.
Those
Now we
look
get to the
familiar.
true adventure. We get to the inside. I have a set of circular needles. I'm not entirely sure what size. They're Amazon cheapies that have the cable running through, or the metal wire running through the cable. But what I find interesting with these ones, because they're under $20 for the set, is on the back it says that they're part of the Addy range, which kind of intrigues me because I do like Addy needles. I have a Susan Bates row counter that you can tell I've used a lot. I have another needle gauge. I have a set of 3.5 millimeter DPNs. I have a set of 2 millimeter DPNs. I have an empty package for some likey tips. I have a cable needle. I have Tylenol sinus. I have more silicone beads that can be used for point protectors. I have some sheep stitch markers. I have a baggie of stitch markers.
So you have a few, is what you're saying.
I have a container of stitch markers, which is one of the little folding pill containers, but I do love these for stitch markers because everything gets contained and they snap closed. Guess what I found?
More stitch
More
markers?
stitch markers.
I was going to say, is it scissors, a crochet hook, or stitch markers?
I have another set of the Katia rescue hooks in this bag. As you can tell, I like having these sets. I've bought a couple of them at Statement Junkie in Sherwood Park. I have crochet hooks of various sizes, materials. I have another random sheep stitch marker. And more stitch markers. Another needle tip minder. A random adhesive silicone Let's Party sticker.
And by party, you mean knit?
It just says Let's Party. I have one of the little metal binder jump rings. I'm not sure why that's there.
To hold your stitch markers.
And it looks like that's actually all that's in this bag. Helen, what do you have in your notions bag? Or bags?
Or bags. Well, I have a notions bag and a notions box.
Okay.
Fair enough.
My notions bag was something that was made by a very crafty person. This is my traveling notions bag. It has all sorts of stitch markers, which of course have to continue in the Doctor Who theme.
Excellent.
There's a Dalek and a sonic screwdriver, and of course a TARDIS.
Of course.
So inside we have, let me see, a pair of scissors.
Just one?
Which is
I think I held the record.
Normally there's 2 or 3 in here, so I'm so amazed there's just one. Uh, I don't know how many cable needles. I have like umpteen different cable needles in different sizes. I probably have about 3 sets in here of all different sizes, which I use a lot because I like cables.
I
Darning
do too.
needles. I have a little booklet out of the same material that you put your needles into so you know where they are at all times,
Nice.
supposedly. I also have um, a gauge that does your wraps per inch and your thickness of ply. So if you're never really sure, and also because I spin, it's nice to know what weight I'm spinning.
It is.
So that's always in here. And there are
Also
stitch
handy
marks.
for those thrift store finds too.
Yeah, exactly, when you're not sure what it is. Yep. And yes, I also have stitch markers in this one, just a few because there's already some on there. Now my big one, on the other hand, hang on,
Is
is
an
this one
undetectable
little
extension
box.
pair. Oh goodness, that is a good size box.
It also has the rescue. Oh, this one also has a crochet hook, and I always carry crochet hooks. This has a set of the rescue, as well as I always carry a 2mm crochet hook with me. Just because it goes through anything, through the fine sock as well as larger ones. So the rescue
Exactly.
crochet hooks for when you have to, oops, you dropped a stitch and you need to pick some up. Just in the top layer alone, I also have a tape measure, a row counter, which I never use, which I should, but I don't, because there are days I can't even count to 2. The proverbial stitch markers. And more
Don't
stitch
feel bad, Helen.
markers.
Do you remember from one of our last retreats? I can't do numbers, apparently, because I will write the same number down multiple times.
Oh yes, that's right, Jess. You were very good at that. Yep, yep. This is a wonderful little thrift store find I found. It's actually porcelain. It's actually, and it holds all my needles.
How lovely.
And I also have a small stitch ripper. I thought that was just so pretty.
It is.
That is gorgeous.
I didn't know what to use it for, but I loved it. And I got home and went, ooh, my needles will fit in there. And they do.
Fantastic.
I probably have about 6 sets of needle tips of all shapes, colors, and sizes. I have markers of all shapes and sizes. See, here's some more. These ones are little sheets. Oh, look, the highlighter tape. Oh, look, more stitch markers.
You can never have too many stitch markers.
Well, and one of the reasons I have so many is I want to do the butterfly shawl. And that's one of the whips I want to get done this year because I have all the wool and the pattern for it. But you need like 104 stitch markers. Because you have
You'll
to do.
show us that pattern after because I'm not familiar with it.
Oh, it's on Ravelry, and yeah, there was a whole Facebook because that they were working on it together. Oh, look, another pair of scissors. So yeah, we all seem to come fully equipped. Needle guides and rulers. And then somebody with a 3D printer very lovely made swatch measures for us. Very important tool. Something we will be talking about, the importance of doing a swatch. So
I have done swatches.
So I have, this is my big one that sort of carries everything, and if I need to throw a few into my traveling one, that's what I do. So. But retreat,
You're
the big
missing
one.
an essential in there, Helen.
Pardon?
You're missing an essential in your big one.
I'm essential. What am I missing?
You don't have tea.
I don't have tea?
You don't have an emergency tea.
I don't have an emergency key.
Tea. Tea bags.
No, I don't. No, I don't. I do have an emergency ring that has a yarn cutter on it.
Very
That's it.
important. Very important.
Very important.
Now, did anybody else listen to everybody else's lists and go, "Where is my?"
Oh, I didn't
Or
think.
that's what's not in my bag.
Apparently, I have to put a tea bag in. So
I just have to keep rounding up my things from around the house. And in fact, a pair of my stitch stoppers are here. I have an aught light that is the one with the craft things all around the base.
Okay.
And I have a certain little yellow furry criminal who feels that that is a smorgasbord for dogs. I used to have all the things around the bottom of the lamp, and I have to move them because he steals my stitch markers.
oh,
Oh, I seem to recall he took off with a baggie of bright green cat stitch markers you were stringing for me, didn't he?
Why, yes, he did. He loves, like I said, he loves all things fiber related, the accessories, the fiber, all of it. He could love it just a little bit less. That would be great, which is why he's not a guest on tonight's show, because he can't be trusted in here. One night we'll bring him on as a featured guest when I can keep a firm eye on him.
well, that might be a great segue into one of using animal hair to spin yarn.
I
Yeah.
haven't yet used animal hair on my wheel. However, I do have a cat who believes that she can spin, so I can't leave the drive band on my wheel because she's forever bouncing from pedal to pedal to make the wheel go around.
Never just eat the wheel.
It results in very over twisted singles.
Just a little, yeah.
Just a bit, yes.
So, in
Well,
case you
who
haven't
would solve
noticed,
that by eating the wheel?
yeah. In case you haven't noticed, there's more to the yarn world than knitting and crochet. A number of us spin. I'm dying. We must know somebody who tats. That's a skill I would love to learn. But some of the other
I am
topics we'd like to
intrigued by
look
the
up is
ones
Hardinger.
that make lace
Oh,
with all the bobbins, but
oh, the Portuguese
I just
lace. Yeah.
fear that yes, but I fear that I would just end up with one great big knot. I would actually also love to learn macrame.
Oh, yeah. Well, and if you're
I
interested at our
believe
retreat
macrame
this
is
year,
back.
yeah, at our retreat this year in Drumheller in May, we actually have someone who knits using looms. So she uses the different size, shapes, and whatever of looms, and not looms. What are they're not the looms? What are they?
The little sock loom.
Yeah,
They call them a
that is.
sock loom.
Yeah, okay, sock looms. So she's going to be bringing those down and sharing with us her skills and talents that way. So we're looking forward to that. So
Yeah. And I also use the Addy circular knitting machines. Um, they work best with worsted or sport weight yarn. I'm still waiting. My husband was kindly 3D printing me a circular sock machine, but he hasn't gotten the pins for it yet. So once that's up and running, then I will happily show that off.
Yes, I'm waiting for your husband to finish it too.
as we all put in our orders.
Yeah.
I just want to use it.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like we all have very similar stuff in our notions, and maybe the odd thing is different on
Yeah.
how we like it. So,
Yeah, maybe viewers can comment below what's in their notion bag, or if they've got a favorite notion that has to be in their project bag no matter what.
that's right.
Yes.
That's a good idea. Yeah, it would be nice to see because maybe you have something like our highlighter tape that we go, oh shoot, I didn't think I forgot about that. Where did I put it? And So yeah, so don't
Well, and
forget there's
depending on
a
what platform you're sorry, go
pardon.
ahead, Helen.
I was going to say, just don't
I said
forget
go
to
ahead.
check out your local yarn shop for some of these notions. Of course, Michael's and craft shops will have them, and there's always the fiber festivals. We're coming up into that season, so always lots of fun things to go
Yes.
And
squish and
even
see.
and even don't hesitate to check out Dollarama, Dollar Tree, and
Right.
your local thrift store, because not everything gets passed down generation to generation. I am very lucky to be in a family with a lot of crafters, so I have a lot of retro things, a lot of things that have meaning to me, like my Singer scissors. I don't just have the little ones. I have the full-sized old school Singer scissors, and I have the Singer pinking shears, all of which belong to one of my grandmothers. One of these episodes we'll have to talk about the crafting tradition that's passed down and
Yeah,
things that you may have inherited from the crafting world. I know I have some things to show, and I'm sure that everyone else does as well.
Well, and speaking of the rescue hooks, I just dropped a stitch, so I am currently utilizing the rescue hooks.
yep. So there's always somewhere, someplace out there, or find a knitting group. It's a community that wants to share and encourage anybody who wants to come and explore and try it out. So join us next time as
And I
we.
never worry much about I just to say I never worry much about having duplicates, because sometimes that's helpful to somebody who's new. So
That's right,
Yes.
definitely. And I never say no when someone comes along and says, "Can you use this?" I might not be able to, but I'll find someone who can.
Exactly.
So join us again next
Well,
time.
thank you for
Well,
joining us.
Connie will give us an update
And
on her travel with her needles.
yes, and depending on what platform you're listening to us on, please don't forget to like and subscribe. We look forward to you joining us the next time on the Abby X podcast.
night, everyone.